Hello everyone and welcome to this FPL Gw27 press conference live stream with me, Holly Shand. We've got double game week coming up for Brentford and Brighton, Crystal Palace and Southampton, although you've probably heard less mentioned about the latter two teams in there. So lots to discuss today. We've got a big captaincy decision coming up with some good single game week options and plenty of viable double game week options as well. So we'll be discussing that. The captaincy poll is live. I'm also going to be revealing my team and answering your questions while keeping abreast of the managers' press conferences as well. So really a lot for us to unpack and get into today, which is good. It's always a good one when we've got plenty to discuss. So it does make me happy when I can bring you lots of information. So do come and say hello in the chat. I can see a few comments in already and a few familiar faces, so we'll go over and say hello in just a minute. In terms of the press conferences, we've already heard from Brighton boss Roberto De Zerbi this morning and Eddie Howe and Jurgen Klopp. We're going to hear from Wolves, Bournemouth and Crystal Palace around now at 1 o'clock, and then at 1:30 we're going to hear from Chelsea, Fulham, Man City, Spurs, Southampton, and Aston Villa's press conference comes at 2:15. I haven't actually locked in my Game Week 27 team. I know what transfer I'm going to make though, I just haven't done it yet. Probably do it on stream, to be fair, towards the end. So the move that I am going to make is steal in for Sanchez. So frustrating that I picked up Sanchez on wildcard and then he lost his place. But, you know, what can you do about that? There's not a lot you can do, if I'm honest. So that's why I'm going to be making that move this week. I feel like I need to rectify the situation, get on board the right players, and really push on. So that's where I'm at with that. The team kind of picks itself. Captaincy, I think I'm locked in. Hopefully. It is a tough one this week though. Some big names on the bench as well. I did panic a little bit when I realised that in the reverse fixture against Fulham back in game week 4, Gabriel scored. That made me even more nervous about benching him for this game. But I do want to save that bench boost until next week. So, sorry, not next week, for double game week 29. I feel like the bench boost will be stronger that week than it is this week. So that's why I've decided to make that decision. Hopefully I'm not punished too much. So I am going to hop over to the chat now and say hello to you guys. I can see quite a lot of familiar faces in, so thank you so much for joining me. Steve is in. I think this has just jumped slightly, so I've not got everyone. Ben is in as well, as is Ahmed, Jamo, Chris, Light Rays, Giraffe and John. So thanks so much for joining me, guys. Lots to discuss, as I said. I don't know if I can see Ben's question at the moment. I might just have to expand things and then it should work for me. Seems to be that I've got too many tabs open. Yeah, Ben has already asked, got Matoma, March and Dunk for Brighton. Tony captain with Raya. Is there an update on when Tony might be banned and possibly how long for? Yeah, so there's two things with Ivan Toney. The first one is that he is on 8 yellow cards. So he's 2 yellow cards away from a 2-game suspension. But that suspension, he'll be, even if he gets booked in both double game week 27 fixtures, he isn't going to miss any of game week 27. If he was to get booked in both of his double game week 27 fixtures, then he would miss game week 28. And I think he needs to get to 32 games before being free of that. So based on his current booking record, he probably will get suspended at some point, but hopefully we can get through 27 and 28. 29 isn't quite so big a one because you could potentially move him on by that point anyway, get yourself a Watkins or something like that, but something to be aware of. Then in terms of the FA charges, he's got a disciplinary hearing coming up in April, I believe. So in terms of that one, he's not going to get that suspension anytime soon either. So we don't need to worry too much. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that Tony is a safe buy for this week. Few more hellos in the chat, so start dropping in here. information that you need from the press conferences as well, because that would be good. Steve is in a snowy and cold Ipswich. It's been trying to snow in Grimsby, but we're a bit coastal, so it's not quite happening for us here. Chris says, good afternoon. Light Rays says hello. Giraffe says, hi, Holly. Hi, everyone. John Good says, afternoon, Holly. Adash says, Holly Molly. FPL Clue is in as well. Danish is in. Hi, Holly. Jojo says, good afternoon to everyone. Nathan says hello. A question from a weather question. I'm sick of weather questions. I feel like the British media make a massive fuss when there's a bit of snow, particularly if there's snow near London. Yeah, I think there was some people worried that games would get called off this weekend because of snow, but nothing looks in jeopardy at the moment. Obviously, you can't legislate for that, but to be honest, I think it's fine. So I don't think you need to worry too much. In terms of the tweet deck, then, it is open. We have just had Jurgen Klopp's press conference. Nothing too crazy going on in there. It was more discussion about Firmino leaving at the end of the season. That's the big one. We have already heard from Roberto De Zerbi today, which was an interesting one. So we will go through those comments in a moment. And we did also hear this morning from Eddie Howe as well. So there's comments from him as well. Basically, all that Klopp said is that he's surprised that Firmino's leaving at the end of the season. But we did hear from De Zerbi this morning. Couple of things to point out there. And there's a bit of an update from Arsenal. I don't think we're going to get a proper press conference from Arsenal, but Tierney and Odegaard missed the Europa League game last night through illness. Trossard's got to be assessed, and Arteta's hopeful that Nketiah will be fine. Jesus is targeting a return before the break, so we could see Jesus starting in blank game week 28. And Steele looks to retain his place between the sticks for Brighton. This is what De Zerbi said. One of the best relationships I have in the dressing room is with Robert Sanchez, but at this moment I prefer Jason Steele only for our style. Robert can improve in his part. I have been clear and honest. So that's the situation there. There was also, I feel like there was something else. From Newcastle, Fabian Schär's expected to be back after the squad after concussion. We have a couple of knocks for the City game, hoping it's nothing too serious. So that's where we're at with that so far this morning. There's this Solly March one as well, carrying a niggle. He did miss the FA Cup game last midweek. Wingers available for Saturday, but some may be a bit concerned that he may not be able to play 180 minutes over the course of the double. So if you were looking at using the armband on Solly March, I would probably look elsewhere now. Try and think about a different option, another Brighton midfielder if you own them. I think that places McAllister above the pecking order for sure now. So Steve has asked, what do you think of doing Odegaard to Maddison this week? Odegaard would be on my bench anyway. Maddison has a double game week coming up. Yeah, I don't mind that, but is that for a free transfer, Steve? Maddison's just a little bit of an injury risk in himself anyway. So if you was going to bench Odegaard anyway, which player is going to be starting ahead of Odegaard but not ahead of Maddison in your squad? That's what I'm interested in. I don't think Chelsea at home is that great a fixture. I think if you want Maddison, maybe having 2 free transfers next week and getting Maddison in would be the better course of action there. I think, information is everything in FPL, so I would hold off on making that move if you can. That'd be my advice on that one. Ben, I answered your first question, didn't I, Ben? Also think Johnson for Forest for 29 alongside Tony. Yeah, Brennan Johnson, he's been ticking over and he's kind of gone under the radar, but I think since the restart he's been doing pretty well. There's only 4 forwards that have got more points than Johnson this season. For 5.7 million forward, he's scored 5 goals since the restart. He's on 7 goals, 3 assists for the season. He's ticking over. Ben is asking about Johnson for Forest for 29 alongside Tony. If we use the Hub points prediction tool, remember this is fully customisable, and if you are a Hub member, you can become a Hub member using the link in the description to this video to get you 30% off. But in terms of forwards, for double game week 29, Johnson is ahead of Tony on a projected 9.4. So that's an interesting one to keep in mind. I know a lot of managers will be looking at losing Haaland for this mini period. Kane has only got a single fixture for 29, but it is against Everton. So we need to see how their form's doing. Jamo says, will Sanchez definitely not start in goal for Brighton? Yeah, Steele is going to be getting the nod for this week. The only reason I'm a little bit... My initial thoughts was hope that Sanchez comes good, but I feel like I really want to be maxed out on Brighton players for this double game week, and he's easy to bench for the future weeks anyway. I need him to still be there for my 29 bench boost though. But, you know, if he has a bad game against Leeds or Palace, we could see Sanchez back in. Will we see Sanchez starting goal against Grimsby in the FA Cup quarter-final? I don't think that'll happen because the reason Steele got the nod is because he's been such a good cup goalkeeper for Brighton. Anyway. Ben has also asked, Chilwell worth a risk heading into the next few game weeks? Yeah, I like Chilwell. One other player that we need to monitor is Reece James. I feel like I saw somewhere that he hadn't been pictured in training on Thursday, if I remember rightly. So that's again something that we need to keep an eye on. But Chilwell is looking very good at the moment. Obviously, Chelsea double in 29. They've been keeping clean sheets in recent games, and back-to-back 90 minutes in the league for Chilwell is really encouraging, and assisting there as well. We know how good his output can be. Again, if we look at the points predictions, let me just refresh this so that we can get back on all the normal settings. If we look at defenders over the next 4, Chilwell and Reece James are in the top 3, along with Trippier. So I could be tempted to bring one of them in the next week. So remember, if you are interested in being a Hub subscriber and getting all of these tools fully customizable, link is in the description for 30% off your memberships. It's a go-to website that I use now in terms of FPL content to get help with various bits and bobs. And if you haven't liked the stream yet or subscribed to the channel, I think there's around 100 of you in at the moment, only 20 likes. Please help me out guys. I'm on 16.9k subs as well. If we could get it to 17,000 before the deadline, I'd be buzzing. So really appreciate all your help with that as well. John has asked, would you do Pickford and Tarkowski to Raya and Botman for a -4? I don't know if I would go with Botman unless you can't afford another Newcastle defender. I think that Shah is a much better pick. I know he's flagged, so it kind of depends if you'd need him for this week, but I'm guessing with the double, perhaps not. But yeah, he is a good pick. But then if you could go up to a Chelsea defender, that could be appealing. The appeal of Newcastle is they do have a couple of games in hand. They've still got, is it the Brighton game needs rescheduling? So they should have a double game week in addition to other clubs. But yeah, it's kind of Brentford defenders, Chelsea defenders are actually ahead of Newcastle defenders. I think the only reason Botman is ahead of Shah in here is because he's a minute's risk for this week because of the injury, that's all. So I think if that was all relative, then Shah would be predicted to score more points. That's all on that one. The algorithm's registered that he's flagged at the moment. Let's have a look at some more questions then. Oh, Giraffe said, Holly provides the most informative and enjoyable FPL channel. She's my favourite. Oh, thank you. It's very kind. When Yo says Odegaard stick. I think, right, we've got to remember, if we look at the fixtures, blank game week 28 is coming, yeah? And there's 7 fixtures. So you're probably not going to want to lose Odegaard for that one. I mean, I think I'm going to keep Odegaard because I like that fixture Leeds at home in 29. And then after that, we're kind of over the main double game week season and he is a great long-term hold. It'll be interesting to see if our opinions on Arsenal attackers change when Gabriel Jesus comes back into the fold. But yeah, if we look at midfielders over the next 4, I guess this is going to be a bit skewed because Arsenal have 4 fixtures in the next 4. Some players have 6 fixtures in the next 4. But Odegaard is well up there. I can't really see a lot of options above him that I really like more. I guess if you go into a Brighton midfielder for this week, it makes sense. Some managers will go from Odegaard to Fernandes in a couple of weeks. That makes sense. But obviously United blank in 28. And there's Maddison as well, who we've already discussed today. So there's a few to weigh up there. Let me just... I'm pretty much going to make this transfer, guys, but... yeah, I've not done it at the moment. Just going to pop over to the tweet deck then, see if there's anything happening so far. But as I said, sorry, just altering my mic there. It seems to be at a funny height today. Most of those press conferences are at 1:30. Yeah, Thiago and Diaz are both out still, but not far off being back, which is interesting. Nelson, this is a bit of a back from what happened in game week 26 and the wild card, as the sting of transferring out Gakpo and Trent last week on a wild card still hurts, I can imagine. I transferred out Gakpo on wild card as well. 38 points. Will Matoma captaincy be a differential this game week that could help recover from a bad game week 26? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think even Tony will be a bit of a differential when we look at the overall captaincies. Probably not when it gets to the condensed rank, but I do think that there's some good picks in there in terms of our captain potential for the next few games. I like Tony though as an option. I think he's like the safe pick. But Brighton midfielders do have a bit more upside. Obviously, clean sheet potential, more points for a goal. Brighton are scoring more goals than Brentford at the moment. So, yeah, I think if I had McAllister, I'd maybe captain McAllister over Tony. Matoma's numbers aren't quite so good, and he doesn't have the pens. So that's why I'm on Tony as like the safe pick. But yeah, those Brighton midfielders are going to split the captaincy, and so will all be differential. So if you get on the right one, you could see a big jump in rank. I don't think Tony will be massively captained. I think he'll be over 100% EO in your rank, but not a huge amount. Munanlal, sorry if I've butchered that pronunciation, going Mitoma as well this week. Yeah, in Nepal, 49% for Tony, 44% for Brighton mid. There is not a lot in it. I'm actually surprised how close that is. 7% going other as well. If you haven't voted in the poll yet, please do. And if you want another poll up, then yeah, we can certainly cover that as well. And do let me know what injury news you're waiting on as well today. When Yi says, should I take a hit to sell Odegaard and buy Mitoma? Depends if you've got enough players for 28. That's what I'd say. Rebel says, lots of talk about setting up for the bench boost. Any chance you could chat over what you would do if you had no bench boost? I do have 3 hit left. I don't think it's a problem not having the bench boost. You're in a luxury position where you can invest your funds on a strong 11 rather than a strong 15. You don't have the bench dilemmas that a lot of us have this week. Free hit can be used in 28 if you're not very well prepared for that in terms of the players that you've got available. I think that's fine. Beyond that, I think free hit in the next big double game week that we're expecting, which should be double game week 34, is also going to be a good time to free hit, or potentially the next blank that we're getting to, which is blank game week 32. But I can't say specifically which one would be the best right now because we haven't got the fixtures, and without the fixtures in front of us, it's a bit difficult to tell. But yeah, keep that free hit in your back pocket. I think that will be very helpful. Let's try and get the stream to 50 likes, guys. We're at 44 at the moment. Try and push. I mean, I'd love to get to 100 by the end. I'd love to hit 17k subs today. Still a little bit of a way to go, but, you know, everything that you can do really does help. Chris has asked, dilemma is whether to bench boost this week or not. I have 7 doublers, strong on the bench, Kane, Haaland and Saka and Rashford. Everyone is in form of fit. My team is set for 29, but it's a month off. Yeah, the reason I'm not really doing it this week is I've got 2 flags on my bench for a start. So it seems a little bit risky to do it this week. And I think my 29 bench will be a lot stronger. If I just use the My Team tool on the hub, because this it's not going to load for me now, is it? Oh, no, it is. We're fine. This tool is free, by the way, guys. I think you need to have an account, but you don't need to be a member. So you don't need, it's free, essentially. I mean, it's hard to say because I am probably going to make moves from here. Possibly dropping Haaland for Watkins. That would be one move I make. I could potentially be dropping an Odegaard for a Maddison. But say if I make those 2 changes ahead of 29, I would have a bench of... I'd have an 11 of players all with a double game week, and then I'd have a bench of a goalkeeper with a double game week, and then Kane against Everton away, single game week fixture, Gabriel and Saka against Leeds at home, a single game week fixture. And that seems a lot stronger than my bench this week in terms of the quality of those attacking players. The other thing I'm interested to see is the point projections for game week 29. Obviously, a Brighton players, that's the thing. Would I get Bruno Fernandes in? I probably could. I'd probably get him in over Maddison as well. But what I wanted to look at here is a single game week players. So among the forwards, we're going to have Kane is up there with a single game week ahead of some players with a double game week. So that's something to think about. He would be one of the players on my bench. And then if we look at midfielders, I'm sure Saka would be way up there for that week as a single game week option as well. Probably not now I've said that. I think I'm having to scroll. There he is. I think I'm having to scroll further because obviously there's more midfielders. I'd probably have to improve that Gabriel slot though, and maybe move yeah, I mean I could get a Reece James, couldn't I, or a Chilwell. Would I do that for a hit? Probably. So it could look something like that with 2 Chelsea defensive assets for their double, plus Kane and Saka with great single game week fixtures. So that's kind of what we're weighing up at the moment. Right, I'm conscious it's 1:25, so we are expecting press conferences from Chelsea, Fulham, Man City, Spurs and Southampton at 1:30. So I am going to keep popping over to the tweet deck to keep you updated on those. But I would like to know which injury news you're wanting to hear about. I'm personally interested in whether Reece James is available, because he wasn't pictured in training one day this week, I believe. So that's the key thing. But there's sure to be more. But I will still be answering your questions as well and keeping an eye on that. I've lost my pace in the chat now. I'm always doing this. Hopefully that answered your question, Chris. Jamo says, can't decide who to captain, Tony or Matoma. Oh, that's just on defenders at the moment. The prediction tool puts Tony first, if that helps. By a couple of points, actually. I could just see Tony brace, max bonus. I think that would be a nice return for us. I'm also going to be setting my lineups on SORARE. The deadline for their game is 3 o'clock this afternoon. I'm running this mini league, the Premier League Amateur. I'm doing all right in it, actually. I'm nearly in the top 100. But you can join this mini league at any time using the link in the description to this video. I'll also put it in the chat as well, just to help you guys. But on SORARE, they've got this Premier League Amateur competition, completely free to play. It's a draft version of the game, so you can sign 2 players from each position, 2 goalkeepers, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders and 2 forwards. And then you create a team of 5 each week, 1 from each position and a captain to compete. So I brought in Jason Steele this week as my backup goalkeeper to De Gea. De Gea actually got me 0 last week in that 9-0 defeat to Liverpool. But I'm hoping he does a little bit better this week. I've also brought in Emerson Royale this week. I think Spurs have got a really good clean sheet potential against Forest. Matoma is my captain. It is only the weekend fixtures, so essentially a single game week, but midfielders do tend to score quite well. I've risked playing Odegaard as well as my utility player over Pinnock and Iheanacho, and I've got Rashford in there, who obviously loves the game at Old Trafford. So it's free to play. Mini League is there as well, and there's Premier League match tickets and other good stuff up for grabs. You can also win cards that are worth money. They do have cards that are with scarcity, as well as the cards that you can see. So if you are interested in getting involved, hit that link that I've just put in the description to the video, or it's in the chat as well. Let's keep the tweet deck open now then, because we should start getting some news soon. Rebel says, last week I took out Nunes, Salah and Trent. Didn't really work out. You can say that again. That is tough going. I feel sorry for you there. It's not always that we see such, variance in FPL. Like a 9-0, like you cannot legislate for that. That just kind of came out of nowhere. So we've got to kind of pick ourselves up. Murphy says, rolling the free transfer, Matoma gets the armband, might need to field 9. Is that for 28? I don't think that's a problem. I can't remember how my team's looking for 28. I'm going to have to reset this now because I've tinkered. Press the wrong button, haven't I? We'll import it again, it'll be fine. I think I've only got 10 though. I don't think that's an issue. Let me just set it up. Obviously I need everyone to be available. It's going to be like a weird formation as well. I mean, I'm not going to sell Rashford or Matoma or March. I'm probably going to sell Haaland for Watkins. So I think I probably will have 11. I think it's fine to sell Haaland when he's got a blank and then Liverpool at home. Bring him back in 30. Some people have done it this week. I think it's maybe a little bit premature, but got to find a way. Where was we? We wanted the tweet deck open, didn't we? It's past now. Pep should be in the building soon. Saints manager is in. Steve, I would just roll. I don't think I'd worry about doing March to McAllister. I don't think it'd be worth it. Popo says, why am I selecting a Newcastle defender? Here we go, Reece James. Reece has been ill, so hasn't trained. He won't make the game tomorrow. I mean, the reason Reece James appealed was he was on pens. No, there was rumours that he could possibly take a pen. I think Havertz took one in the Champions League, but James was like number 2 choice. Raheem Sterling not available. Aubameyang not available as well for Chelsea. So the reason I've gone with Trippier over Gabriel is just because he's got more goal threat. That's basically it. I don't think there's much in the clean sheet potential. I think they're both high. In fact, if we look at FPL Salah, he always tweets the clean sheet odds. So Newcastle are at 44%. Arsenal at 4. Newcastle 47%, Arsenal 44%. So your Newcastle defenders have got a better chance of a clean sheet. And obviously Trippier. You can't bench Trippier for his attacking potential. Right, Reece James. Is he just not the biggest troll in FPL? Can't believe it. He's not available again. It's crazy. It's like every other game. You just can't trust him. I don't think Chilwell's much better, if I'm honest. Maybe he's slightly better, but there's not a lot in it. Martial could be back, says Ten Hag. Interesting. Yeah, it was some tricky things on Brighton mids. 2 to buy. I think within this news on March, potentially still carrying that knock. I think I'd go McAllister and Matoma now. Mahad says me or Henry. I think I'd go Rico Henry. Any Brighton mid is a differential, I'd say, for captaincy. Deepwater Training's going Ward-Prowse captain. That is bold. I mean, he'll probably... I think he's only one off David Beckham's free kick record now. So, you know, if we saw that, the stars could align. Let's see what happens. It'd be interesting to see, for sure. Chuck is asking March v McAllister. I think there's some interesting stats here. McAllister is ranked 2nd for big chances and shots on target over the last 4 game weeks among all players, even though Brighton have only had 3 fixtures in that time. Some teams have had 5. Let me just show you on, if we use the Opta tool on the hub. Yeah, so shots on target, McAllister is 2nd. We're bearing in mind that Saka, who was above him, has played double the amount of minutes. Big chances, McAllister is 2nd on 5 behind Gakpo and Haaland, who have both played, you know, at least half an hour more than him. XG, he's top of all players in the last 4 game weeks. There is a pen in there that does skew it. Let's just have a look at non-pen XG. It could be a bit fairer. So he's a bit further down on that. 5th, 6th. But again, 270 minutes. Some of them are in the 400s there. Other thing is, so key passes. March is kind of joint 4th on 10 over the last 4 game weeks. Big chances created. March is top with 5. And you look at the minutes of the players below him. And then XA, March is 1st with 2.42. And then if you look at expected goal involvements, McAllister is 3rd of all players on 3.8 and March is 5th on 3.7. So I think goals over assists means McAllister, and I think the little knock that March is carrying also is a plus for McAllister, but it is also very convincing if you fancied a McAllister captain. Sorry, I've just knocked my desk there. Sorry if that came through on the mic. Adam said he's just subscribed. Thank you, Adam. I need to have a look actually at how we're doing on followers. I'm trying to get to 17k. So we're not a million miles off. Probably a little bit of work to do to get there. But if you all start smashing that subscribe button, there's some crazy stat as well, guys, that I can get on my YouTube analytics, which is basically how many people watch your videos via subscribing to the channel, and it's crazy. I think it's like 30% of people that watch my content subscribe to the channel, 70% don't. Like, imagine if everyone that watched subscribed. I'd be on like 60k subs now. So if you can smash the subscribe button to help me get to 17k on the stream today, that'd be amazing. Maybe a little bit ambitious, but we'll give it a try. But hopefully by the deadline, we'll get there. By the way, there is like a 30-second delay on this. So if you see it and it's like you're subscribing and it's not moving, it's because there is a delay. And then suddenly in about 3 minutes time, we'll get like a massive rush where that counter will start going up and up and up. But yeah, if you are here and you haven't subscribed and you're enjoying the stream, I'm here every Friday at 1 o'clock taking you through the press conferences, and anything that you can do to support the channel's growth is hugely appreciated because it helps me get more content out there for you. So here you go, look, I told you we'd have a little bit of a surge on. Keep going with it though, guys, because I really do need every one of you. Emma's just subscribed as well, thank you. Gazman is in, arrived late. Just happy to have you all in and absorbing the content. Let's move back to the tweet deck to see if anything else has come through then. A few from Southampton. Phil Foden is okay. I didn't know that it wasn't okay. Was Phil Foden not okay? Pep describes Kyle Walker's situation as a private matter. Interesting. I mean, there's a lot in this press conferences that aren't relevant for FPL manager, but hopefully one day I can be in one of these press conferences and I can ask the questions. Yeah, nothing else particularly exciting there at the moment, so we can keep going through some questions. If I can stop losing my place in the chat. Always happens. Jamo, there we go. So start Saliba or Trippier. Already started Zinchenko. Yeah, I think Trippier is the easy one there, if I'm honest. I think that's one of the easiest ones that you'll get, that one. Newcastle got a higher clean sheet potential. Trippier's got more attacking threat as well. Fidel waiting on Odegaard availability for Gameweek 27. All we know is that he was ill. But Europa League is not Arsenal's priority, so I'd be very surprised if he wasn't available for 27. But it could help you out if you've got a benching dilemma like me. Emma is on wildcard this week. Oh, nice one, Emma. I've got 3 Brighton mids, no Arsenal players, but Salah and Rashford. What are your thoughts? Do you need an Arsenal mid? I personally would have Saka. I'm guessing you've counted up. This is the thing, because if you've got 3 Brighton midfielders, Salah and Rashford, they all blank in game week 28, which is the next game week, Emma. Just take a look at the fixtures on the website. So Brighton, Liverpool and Man City all blank. And you're going to have to play... You need 2 midfielders, don't you, at all times? That's right, isn't it? Am I going mad? Yeah, they're like the best you can do is like a 5-2-3 for next week. So I think having an Arsenal midfielder in there in Saka would be wise. Dare I say drop Salah? But obviously keep some funds in the bank so that you can get to him. Unless you're going to free hit, of course, in 28, which is a viable strategy. You're going to play 10 players. I think I'd still go Saka over Salah. I really would. What's wrong with Odegaard? He missed the Europa League game with illness. It was an away game though, so it was a good excuse not to travel. Alan says, have you made the move from Sanchez to Steele? Not yet, because I was just waiting to see if there was anything crazy come out in the press conferences, but it doesn't look like there is, so I'll probably lock in a transfer at the end of the stream. Valter says, I'm thinking doing Ake to Estupinan and Andreas to March for a -4. Would it be okay? I think with the knock to March, Matoma's way more likely now to get 180 minutes over March. So I think that's why I'd go Matoma now. Zuba is in. Let's go, Holly. Nice to see you. Another question, Matoma or McAllister for captain? I'd go McAllister over Matoma. Odegaard fitness news, lots of those. Shah is available. Yeah, I can't remember what did we have on Shah in the end. It was one of these, wasn't it? We hope Shah will be in the squad. He's trained well this week, so I'm pleased to see him back. He had a concussion, so yeah, he should be back. What do we need? Back on the tweet deck. We need that open for a bit longer. Mike says Sanchez to Steele. Who dares? Yeah, I'm going to make the same move. Shinobi says, will you put Martinelli or Watkins for the starting lineup in 27? I think I'd go Martinelli. I do think that Arsenal mids need to have the priority over other attacking players if you can. It is, the benching decisions are absolutely horrible this week though. Really, really horrible. We're up to 94 likes, guys, which is phenomenal. Let's give the subscriber count a refresh. 34 away. If I stayed for another 34 minutes, I need 1 a minute. Come on, help me out, guys. I'm sure you will do. FPL Focal is in. Thanks for joining, Oscar. Already subscribed. Good to see it. You've got to subscribe to Focal as well. Great content on his channel. I'm struggling to keep up with the chat today. It's so busy. You're like really testing out my skills. I do think I'm okay at multitasking, but I've definitely got worse. Must be an age thing. It's all downhill when you hit 30. Niraj says, double Brighton, double Brentford, enough for this game week. Yeah, I'd say so. I think the triple up on Brentford is more appealing because I've got a fixture in 28 and then double in 29 as well. Evan says, need to replace Haaland with a striker playing in 28. Got Watkins and Tony on a wild card. You see, I really do like Haaland this week. Crystal Palace away, he got a goal in the reverse fixture. Right, let's go back to the prediction tool. I always feel a little bit safer with the stats to back it up. I mean, Kane is up there as well. If we look at strikers for 27, it's Tony, Kane. Sorry, I've not got this filtered, have I, either? Tony, Kane and Bomo, Adams, Darwin, Haaland. If we look over the next 2 game weeks, it's Kane, Tony and Bomo, Adams, Jar, Felix, Watkins. If we look over the next 3, Tony, Kane, Felix and Bomo, Wilson, Iheanacho, Watkins. So you're kind of looking, you've got Brennan Johnson as an option. Don't really like Iheanacho or Wilson or Mbomo as options. You've got João Felix or you've got Kane. If you can afford Kane, you know, I would really go with Kane. I think he is the one. I know he's a bit underrated because of the single game week, but, you know, gotta be done. Nithin says it's 7-0, by the way. Yeah. You're going to have annoyed all the United fans in the chat there. Mika says hello. Scott says, I've just seen my account on the tweet deck. Have you? What is your account, Scott? Let me know. I mean, it'll have gone now. You probably said that 10 minutes ago, and I'm just trying to catch up, stay on top of the chat. There's just so much going on. I don't think there's too much coming through on these press conferences, though. I mean, Reece James was the one that kind of I was looking out for. There will obviously be a few others as well. Travis says, is March a good captain option? And Winnie says, this is the month of March. Yeah, I've been put off March, though. Those comments. Where have they gone again? Here we go. I've clicked on it twice now. This is the reason why I would maybe not captain Solly March, because I could see him getting a bench or an early sub with the midweek game. That's where I'm at with it. That's just me and my personal opinion. In terms of the captain poll at the moment, for 346 votes, which is phenomenal, guys, 53% said Tony, 41% said a Brighton mid. So things are swinging towards Tony. Let's see, though. Matt says, imagine if Reece James is Chelsea's new penalty taker. He needs to be on the pitch, though, Matt. That is the thing. Gazman says, Tony or Matoma captain, please, Holly, unless you've answered it. I'm going Tony. I just feel like he's safer. The stats say Tony, but, you know, Matoma's got higher ceiling. I think have I captained Tony once already this season, and he scored a brace on like a Friday night game. Was it that one? Game week 11. I can't remember if I captained him. Surely I wouldn't, because what was going on with Haaland? Maybe I just transferred him in that week and he scored a brace in a Friday night game. Yeah, that was it. He's been good to me, though. He's always in bonus as well. Right, Haaland and Kane are the only players that have scored more goals than Tony this season. And then Haaland, Tony and Trippier are the only players with more bonus points this season. So, you know, the arguments there are pretty strong for saying that, you know, he is a decent option. Maybe not the best option when it comes to it, but certainly the safe pick. If you like to play safe, I mean, at my current rank, I probably ought to take a bit of a punt. I think if I had McAllister, I would captain McAllister. My top three would be first McAllister, second Tony, third Matoma. That's where I stand on it. Enoch saying tweets that Leeds v Brighton has been called off. How true is this? It's not true. It's a combination of FPL community hype and the British media just getting... Britain just going into meltdown because of snow. I think people that live in the UK are kind of not worried about this game getting called off. But people who maybe live abroad that have got no idea of how things work over here or don't work when it snows have maybe got a bit caught up in that. But yeah, it's not happened. It could happen, but I can't really see it happening. Emma is subscribed. Thank you, Emma. Greenback Soccer. Interesting that Hub has Kane predicted higher than the Brighton midfielders on points. Yeah, that is really interesting. I've kind of gone a little bit against the grain holding on to Kane in recent weeks. And I need him to repay me with a double-digit score now, because I think he could do really well over the next few weeks. Fingers crossed. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a lot else going on. Maybe I should make my transfer. Aloha says you deserve the subscription. Holly, amazing Shandor. Thank you. Thanks very much. How are we doing? See if it's going to go up. We're 22 away. Maybe I just say I'll carry on streaming until we get to 17k. Could be here all day though. My kids will be like not picked up from nursery, and I'll be getting phone calls saying, "Why haven't you collected them?" I was like, "Just waiting for my 17k subs." No, I'm joking. I wouldn't leave them. Mod has subscribed as well. Thank you. Chris says people probably think to subscribe you had to pay. No, it's completely free. You just hit the button. Tom says, Holly, what is the stats page you use to analyse those players? So it's the Fantasy Football Hub Opta-Stats tool and the points prediction tool. I'm a member on Hub. I'm an ambassador for them. You can get access to everything that's fully customizable using the link in the description to the video. It'll get you 30% off your membership. I'm hoping I can copy and paste the link into the chat as well, just to make it easier for you guys. So you get 30% off your annual memberships. I think there's some sort of free trial as well, if I remember rightly. I'll pop it in there as well though, so you can see. It's just copied and pasted a bit weird there. Hopefully it works though. It's not, I can never see it because I'm always logged in. It won't actually tell me what the offer is. Yes, 7-day free trial. That is right. David has said, would you consider using a free hit in 29 and wildcard and bench boost in later weeks? Yeah, it's a viable strategy. I just feel like for continuity, I feel like 27. A wildcard 27 allows you to navigate 28 and 29 anyway. But yeah, you could wildcard in 33 and bench boost 34. That would be fine. We've got blank game week 32 to navigate as well, but it's not going to be as bad as 28, I don't think. Peter said, should I sell Haaland for Kane this week? Free transfers gives me 11 for next week. I mean, Haaland scored a hat-trick against Palace last time out. That's what puts me off. I mean, it's viable. It is viable, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd do that. You could just do it next week. Aloha says, can we rely on Chelsea? I mean, clean sheets have started to come again. I feel like Potter's starting to figure out what his best team is with all the new signings. It's just a bit hit and miss, isn't it? You know, that performance in the Champions League was huge, though, so hopefully they can kick on, but maybe the Champions League is going to be their focus. We've got to keep an eye on the Premier League table as well. So they're 10th in the Premier League table. Like, are they just going to go for winning the Champions League? It could happen, couldn't it? So it is a tricky one. Shall I make my transfer? Let's just see if anything else has come up. Doesn't look like it. Is anyone else doing Sanchez to steal? Do you think I'm making the right decision? I think I'm going to do it anyway. It gets to this point in the week and I've been thinking about FPL all week. By Friday, it's like, oh, well, if I said I was going to do it in the start of the week, unless anything major happens, it gives me an extra 2.3 million in the bank. Like, could that afford me to go Odegaard to Bruno Fernandes in a couple of weeks? How much is Fernandes? $500,000 off. I could probably do it though. I just need to make sure that if I sell Haaland, I can get him back. Decisions. I always get a bit nervous when I'm doing transfers on stream because for the day that I make the wrong move. Once I bought Southampton were playing really well and I wanted to buy Fraser Forster. And I actually bought Ben Foster as well. And at the time, I can't remember what club he was at, but he wasn't doing particularly well. That always makes me nervous that I'm going to make the wrong move. I think I'm going to do it though. No one's jumped in the chat saying, don't do it. I mean, I would be annoyed if Sanchez got his place back, but it gives me an extra double game weeker. And I just don't fancy Chelsea's clean sheet chances at home, away to Leicester. At least says going for steal but not feeling good about it. That doesn't help me. Right. Brighton have got a 65% chance of a clean sheet over the 2 fixtures. Chelsea's only at 36%. I think I'm just going to do it. Shall we do it? There's a delay in the chat as well, so I'll make the move and there's someone will come in and be like, no, don't do it. I'll be like, oh, I've done it. I've done it. Oh, that looks better. So I've got 6 doublers. Captain Tony. Vice-captain Matoma. What do you think? Rate my team. I'm pretty pleased with that, I think. Who do I put first sub? Shah or Gabrielle? I think it's all right as it is. Zuba said, do it, Holly. Risk it to win it. Yeah, it's done. It's done. It's too late now anyway. Don't tell me now it's a bad decision. That is no good to me. Oh, it's all good fun. I feel nervous this week. Why is that? Right. Come on, guys. We're at 16,984. I mean, if you're going to keep me on till 3 o'clock just to get to 17k. I can have a gin tonight if I get to 17k. I'd be buzzing with that. I'll leave it on. I'll keep answering some questions in the chat, though. I wanted to end the captaincy poll as well. So the results of the poll are 54% Tony, 39% Brighton midfielder, 5% other, 418 votes. So those Brighton midfielders, particularly Matoma and McAllister, I think they're really going to split the vote now. So it will be really, really interesting to see how all of that shakes out. I mean, if you get on the right one and they bang, then you're going to probably see a pretty good, healthy green arrow. Here we go, guys. You're not going to leave me hanging all day, are you? When you was already subscribed, thank you. Bushan says Brennan Johnson for 28 and 29. Got him on wildcard this week. Yeah, that's fine. Hamishra, thoughts on Salah captain? It was the 9-0 fixture, wasn't it? Can you remember earlier in the season? Liverpool absolutely smashed Bournemouth 9-0 at home. And what happened? Nothing. Absolutely nothing from Salah. I think he's got 8 goals in 7 games against them now. And yeah, you're right, Matt. Haaland did get a hat-trick. Who's unsubscribed? You cheeky. Haaland subbed as well, thank you. Haaland did get a hat-trick last time out against Palace. Jamo says, I'll be heartbroken if Sanchez starts over still. No, you won't this week. You won't this week. Someone's winding me up. Who is it? Tell me in the chat if you're the one. Oh, we're going in the right direction now, guys. I'm going to have to, stop as soon as I get to 17k, though, aren't I? Else you'll all start unsubscribing again. But it's all good fun. Basically, if you're enjoying the content, then I'm happy and you're happy, which is the best thing. Ridgel is asking for permission to swap Haaland to Tony, which I think is absolutely fine this week. Footed said, if you've got a good team for 27 and 29, should you free hit in 28 and save the wild card? Potentially, could be the right decision. I still think that the wild card allows you to navigate 28, 29 without the free hit and possibly bench boost as well, which is interesting. Really, really interesting. No, we're going down. I'm just going to give up, guys. We'll get there before the deadline. We will. I am going to wrap it up there, though, guys, because I think I've been on for an hour. So thank you so much for joining. I'll be back next week, same time. Look out for my team selection as well. Have a good game week. Speak to you all soon.